The Tigers are headed to Long Island. The Tiger Football Report starts now, brought to you by the Green Turtle. Welcome to another edition of the Tiger Football Report. I'm your host, Spiro Maurikas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose. And Coach, this Saturday the Tigers will travel up to Long Island and way up to Long Island to take on Stony Brook, a team that is fighting for their playoff life. You guys are also fighting for your playoff life. Just another week in the CAA.
Well, you work really hard so you get to November, and the games in November are meaningful. That's really what you want. The games in November and beyond are meaningful. And it's that time of year. The weather's changing. It's a little bit colder, and everything means a lot more. And
Smells like football outside.
It really, really does. You know, I told the kids, like,
now,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, it's just that this is where you want to be. That when you're little, you want to be playing playoff level football. That's why you do this. So here we are in a position to be playing playoff level football before the playoffs. And little room for error, everything counts, and there's nothing to hold back.
This is a team that's coming off a loss to Richmond this past Saturday, but when you look at them offensively, they've got two running backs with over 500 yards rushing in Lawton and Niquette, plus their quarterback, Fields, also runs the ball. So they are a team that can put up the rushing yards, over 200 yards a game.
They do, and it's not, unlike some past years where it's a straight-up tailback-centered run game, that they just had multiple ones. Their quarterbacks really added a degree of dynamic aspect to their offense. And his running and passing ability has really created an offense that's much more difficult to defend than some of the years past.
And then you look at Fields and his three top wide receivers. I mean, their average yards per catch, 19, 15.9, 21.9, and their fifth leading wide receiver is only averaging 28.7 yards per catch. So not only when they throw it are they successful, they're successful big.
It's run, 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 take big shots. And those guys have made play after play after play all year long.
So defensively, what is it that you're going to have to accomplish this week?
You're going to have to use enough guys to be able to stop the run game. And it's a very powerful, they're a good offensive line. They're a very large, big offensive line. We need to be able to stop the run game and keep it from running down their throats. And then the guys on the back end have to have the disciplined eyes to be able to stay where they should be and not stick their face in the backfield and cover the guys they need to cover and make them be really, really accurate.
You have had so many changes in your secondary. How tough has it been for those guys to coordinate what they are doing? Because it seems like you're bringing in a different defensive back on almost every play because guys are hobbling off, then hobbling back on. It's been a rotating wheel back there.
It really has been, and I thank God for S.J. Brown. I really do. We picked him up this year, and he has added an element of maturity, intelligence, and leadership on the back end that we didn't know he possessed, and thank God he's there because we needed it. With the injuries that we had, he's really stepped into a role. He's the guy getting everybody lined up. A talkative defense is a confident defense, and he's talking all the time. And then other guys are talking all the time. So everybody's getting into the right spots thanks to him, but they're all feeling confident because they know what they should be doing because they're talking about it.
I know it's only been a few weeks, but compare your defense now to the defense we saw against Albany.
Oh, gosh. I'd say that the one thing as a head coach that you really want to see out of your team, despite what's going on, is for them to be improving. I'll go back last week. We gave up 24 points to a good Delaware offense, and we turned the ball over 3 times offensively. In our league, you should not be able to win football games turning the ball over 3 times. And to only give up 24 points says a lot about our defense. Bend, don't break, forcing turnovers, forcing long downs, trying to hold big plays and stopping the run game. So they're getting better week after week, and that's a credit to the coaches and the kids.
On the offensive side, you're going to face a Seawolf team that at times has given up big points over the course of the year. What do they show you defensively?
They've always been a good team, and they're a tremendous tackling team that plays really, really well at home. But they play fast. They play very, very fast. They may not be as big as they were in the past, but they're very active and they move. So what you see is not what you're going to get. And once the ball's out, they got 11 guys running the football, and they're extremely physical.
Through the years, since Stony Brook joined the CAA, we have seen some of the most physical games between Towson and Stony Brook. I mean, they've been wars.
True, and it doesn't really matter where we play. It's a really testament to Coach Priori and the culture and what they have going on up there, that he's brought those guys into such a historic league. And the one thing that you can count on every year is for them to be really, really physical. And they're even more so when they're playing in New York.
Tom Flacco last week had a great week throwing the football. We didn't see him run a whole lot, which probably makes you happy when he's successful throwing the ball and he doesn't have to take off and run.
Well, if we can have success without him running around all the time, that's probably healthier for everybody, including him. And the less hits he takes, the longer he'll last. When we got to this time a year ago, he was struggling physically because he had sent care to the wind, recklessly threw his body everywhere running around. He's been a much better game manager, picks and chooses his time to run, doesn't necessarily throw himself into places he shouldn't anymore. And because of it, his entire game isn't sliding. His pass game's actually getting better in the month of November, as was the last year where it was sliding down a little bit.
All right, Coach. Well, we hope the Tigers come back to go on the road again, because this is the first of two straight. Tigers play Stony Brook this week, then William and Mary before finishing up the year here against Elon. Tigers in the top 20 again, top 25, 21st in the nation this week, as they will head up to take on a Stony Brook team that is also fighting for their playoff lives. If you cannot get up to Long Island, Gordy Combs and I will have the action for you starting at 1:45 on CBS Sports Radio 1300 and TowsonTigers.com. So for the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose, I'm Spiro Marikas. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Tiger Football Report. As always, go Tigers.